That role, right? We have that product owner role. Now, where do you staff it out of your organization, right? And you can be successful in staffing it from a lot of different places, especially if there's a kind of an understanding of here's what product owners do, here's what product managers do. And I do think there has historically, as Earl was saying early on, because the word is a product owner, there have been a lot of cases where people either want that job, right, but don't have the time to do it. I've seen that where, well, I'm a product manager, that means I should be a product owner, but I can't work with the teams. Okay, well, then you're a product manager, you're a major stakeholder. Let's figure out who can be a product owner beneath you, right? There's also I've seen product management organizations actually up staff so that they could have most of the product owners actually report into the product management organization. But I actually have a story where there was assumption that all product owners should be product managers. And that worked great for most of the teams because they were feature oriented. But there were like a couple infrastructure teams who were going, the product managers are like, I don't know what to do with you. The teams are going, you're not really engaged with us, right? And I was pretty deep in that organization. And that was a place where I actually went to the leadership and said, this infrastructure team you have here, I'm promoting your scrum master, who's their engineering manager, out of that role and into the product owner role. Because it's a better fit for this team to have an engineering manager who really understands that work. And he was a great guy, right? He literally could take on and off his hat, and he would say to the team, I'm now acting as an engineering manager. I'm now acting as a product owner.
That's hard. That's really hard.
It is hard, and he did a great job with it. But that was funny because it was a case where I like this pattern of product management being either very, very close to their product owners or even supplying some of their product owners. Mm-hmm. But even in that case, sometimes it's not the right thing to do, right? So back to my don't blanket anything. Really sit down. You need a product owner. You need business input. How are you supplying it in your organization?
That's a good way to frame it.
I also want to suggest too that the product owner has a little different kind of job too in product management in terms of increased stakeholders. Because for the product owner, product management is probably their biggest stakeholder. But often there's other internal stakeholders that the product owner has to work with too. Working with a device company recently, sustaining. They have a separate sustaining team that supports their devices in the field. They want things from the development team that product management really doesn't care about at all. That makes their life as a sustaining team easier. The people doing the installing of these devices, they wanted things out of the development team that the product management was like, well, that really won't help us sell one more thing, but it will lower our overall install cost by 20%. And so that's saving money for the company. Well, who's going to represent those stakeholders? Well, the product owner is still supposed to represent those stakeholders too, not just product management. How do we position the product, but all those little internal things, the help desk. How do we handle calls from this? How do we process calls on this? Overall, checking defects that have been in the field for a long time that product management doesn't care about, but some customer would just be head over heels if we solve that. Balancing those a little bit. This is where that 20% P&L kind of really comes home to roost. It's not just when we're getting orders from product management about where to position this product in the big, but also these other secondary stakeholders that say, where do we have our voice in the development effort overall?
And don't forget technical debt, right? As a product owner, one of the things that you need to be thinking about here, if you're at scale, you probably